Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. I did a really simple version of a pop-up card this week. Sizzix just came out with a die for this, but it's so easy to do on your own, so I thought I'd do one. The first thing I'm going to do is take a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch folded piece of cardstock. I'm going to unfold it, and then I'm going to use Dusty Concord to distress the paper. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to do the outside, and then I'm also going to do a spot in the middle, and that's because that's where my pop-up's going to be, and I didn't want to waste a bunch of time coloring areas that didn't need to be colored. So there I am doing the middle part. Alright, this piece of paper is the same length, so it's 8 1/2 inches, but I trimmed off 1/4 of an inch, so it's only 5 inches wide. And I'm going to draw a line on each side, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to color that real red, which is Stampin' Up! Color. These are some new Stampin' Up! Templates, framelits I think, or I'm not sure, they're all different names, so I'm not sure. But what I do is I mark the middle of the template, and then I mark the middle of my paper, and I just lined them up, and I used some Eclipse masking tape to hold it in place, so I ran it through my Sizzix. Makes a really cute edge. Then I'm going to do the same thing, and this package comes with 2 different edges. The next thing I'm going to do is stamp my balloons, and I'm using VersaFine ink with a Penny Black Sweet Wishes stamp set. And the reason why I'm doing them now is because I'm going to emboss that top piece, and it's really hard to stamp it once you emboss it. So here's the matching embossing folders that come with these, or that you can buy to match these edgelets. And it's really easy, you just line it up and run it through your Sizzix. And I did that on both sides. So here's the pop-up. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the center of my card and I'm marking out 3/4 of an inch out on each side. So the width is a total of 1 1/2. Then I'm measuring 3/4 of an inch up, right there, 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to cut just up to that 3/4 of an inch mark. I slowed this down a little bit, so you fold the whole thing, then you turn it inside out, and you push it out, and then you fold it down, secure it. And that's it. It's so easy. So 1 1/2 inch wide by 3 1/4. And this is my purple sheet, so I'm just going to layer them up, and I'm going to adhere them together. The smart thing to do is to put tape on the piece that you're putting on, the middle piece, because I tried doing the purple one time, and then I actually put tape on the hole, and it was a mess. So anyway, so you want to put the tape on the middle piece. Okay, now I've got some balloons that I'm going to be putting on using some dimensionals, so I stamp them in Memento, and then I'm going to color them with Copic markers. And I just did a tutorial on this, so you can go to my blog and check it out. On how to do the different shades. So I'm using 3 different colors for the pink one, are 81, 83, and 85. And I did the all over light, then I did the dark, and now I'm doing the medium and then the light again. And then this is a colorless blender which removes color, and I did that on that little area where the little tick right there where the light's supposed to be. So all over light, then dark, now I'm in the medium, and then light again, and then the colorless blender. Now this is going to be a red balloon, but I started off with an RV, which is red-violet color, because when it all blends together, the red looks really good with it. And this is a dark red, now a medium red, and then I blend it back in with that kind of a hot pink color. I think it looks more reddish to me, so took some color out, and then I decided to put a little bit more back in. So I cut those out, and I put some dimensionals on there and popped it up. Now I'm going to stamp my main image, and I'm going to stamp it with Memento ink, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times because I'm going to need 3 different images of the cupcake and the animals. Okay, so I'm going to color these animals, critters. They're both going to be brown, but they're completely different versions of brown. And I'll have the numbers on my blog as far as which markers I use, but they're all in the E family. So I colored the whole thing all over light, and then I started with the darkest. And then you're going to get a little shadow from the cupcake because the light source is coming from the right. Now I'm going to go in with a medium and blend it out. I'm going to be careful not to color in that confetti, which I'm going to color later on. And that medium also goes on the right hand side because I'm not going to get quite as much of a dark shadow on that side. And then going back in with the light. Now my light source is coming from the right hand side, but my balloons, you know, that had that little part of the stamp was where the light reflection was, and so the light is actually different on the balloons. But I just decided I was going to live with it because it was too hard for me to think of the light coming from a different direction than I'm normally used to doing. So I also created a neck on this little guy by just, you know, making kind of a indentation and make it darker all the way on the left and then lighter as it started to come around. I'm going to do the same thing with this other guy. So all over light, again the same E family colors, but they're completely different. And then I go in with the dark. And then medium, and the medium goes on the right hand side as well. Back to light. I also created a neck for this guy. I started with the medium color to just kind of get it lined out. Then I went out back in with the dark. Alright, I wanted to show you how I did this hat. So I did all over light color, then the darkest on the edges, then the medium just a little bit further in, and then the light across the whole thing. Then I took my colorless blender and I just put a couple of lines in there, and then it really rounds it out, makes it look like it's round. Okay, so I'm going to cut that out, and now I'm going to start on my cupcakes. I'm going to do the bottom in violet. Again, I'll have the numbers on my blog. All over light, then the darkest goes in the corner there, and then medium. And then back with the light. So if you haven't seen my tutorial yet that I posted last week, I just go over the basics of the perspective and where the light's coming from and where the different shades should go. My cake is going to be yellow, and I have 3 different shades of yellow here, and you'll get a little shadow from that frosting. That's why I put it right underneath it. And then the cherry, I'm actually using the pink that I used on the balloon and then one of the reds. Blend it together and then use that colorless blender to pull out just a little bit to make it shine. I added some shadow on the frosting, just a cool gray C1 in the corner. And I'm going to do the same exact coloring for this second cupcake. And then I cut them all out. And now I'm using some liquid applique. It's a pen, and this white liquid comes out and you just cover it up. And then I'm going to use my heat tool, and I got to go straight over it, which is why you can't see it, otherwise it gets all uneven. And it just bubbles up and becomes frosting. It's very cool. This is my little flagpole, I guess you could call it, and I'm just using yet 2 more different colors of the browns. And then this Sweet Wishes stamp set by Penny Black comes with a flag and then all these different things you can put in the flag. It's very cool. I love it. So I'm going to do surprise there, and then I colored it in red around the edges. I'm going to use some glue dots to adhere the flag to the flagpole. And then I'm going to put it all together. And I decided to use my 2A glue pen, which is my favorite glue. I'm going to lay it flat down there. And I decided I wanted some more at the bottom there. And I'm going to clip it. And then I'm going to take my cupcake with the frosting, and I'm going to use some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals to pop it up. And that's going to be the inside of the card. Now I'm going to put it on there, and I decided to use glue dots. You could use just regular 2A glue pen, really any kind of glue, just something that's really strong. I'm going to put 3 different glue dots there. Now when you put it on, you want to make it up a little, make it a little higher than the card because when you fold it, you don't want it to scrape on the bottom. Okay. I was kind of mad I had to trim off that balloon. I really didn't want to do that, but I stamped it a little too high. Now I'm just drawing a freehand line. I'm working on the front of the card now. That's the one thing about these pop-ups is that you have the inside and the outside to do, so it's a little more work. And I'm going to use dimensionals again to pop that cupcake up and to make the front of the card really, really simple. I cut out a few extra pieces of confetti, and I'm just using my 2A glue pen and my paper piercer, which has, since I use it for glue dots and things like that, it's kind of got a sticky edge and it allows me to pick up small pieces, and you've probably seen me use it with the owl punch, trying to put those pieces together with the eyeballs and all that. This is C1, cool gray. Just draw a little bit of a shadow there so it doesn't look like it's sort of floating. Looks like it's actually on a table. This is my colorless blender, and I just kind of blend out the shadow so it doesn't look like a stark line. And that's it. It's really an easy card to make, just a lot of steps, and depending on how fancy you want your pop-up to be, but the actual pop-up piece of it is actually pretty simple. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.